So we've finally managed to get our grubby little hands on a Ryzen 5000 series processor. Why have we purchased this? Because we actually needed a new processor for our editing rig. We're currently running in that system a Ryzen 7 1700 and it's starting to show its age, and my current gaming system is running a Ryzen 7 3800X. Now, because I wanted to pinch that processor out of my gaming rig, I thought, what is the best CPU for me to upgrade to? And in the end, I decided to go with a Ryzen 5 5600X. Now, this means going from an 8-core 16-thread processor back to a 6-core 12-thread processor, but because it's 5000 series, I'm wondering if I'm actually going to get an upgrade. Let's find out. Now, since AMD have released their 5000 series processors, I've wanted to get my hands on one. And because I only use my gaming rig just for gaming, as it replaced my PlayStation 4, I didn't think I needed to go anything for like the 5800X or anything like that, because I don't really need that core count. I don't use it for any kind of productivity at all. But obviously, moving my 3800X into my editing rig, I'm going to see a huge difference. But am I going to see any difference going to the 5000 series, particularly the 5600X? Now, this processor has 6 cores, 12 threads, and a base frequency of 3.7 GHz. But it is running on the Zen 3 architecture, and because of that, we should see a great IPC increase, particularly when it comes to single-threaded applications. Now, to test that, obviously we needed to do a few Cinebench runs, and just as expected, when we were actually using multicolor tests, the 3800X absolutely destroyed the 5600X. So of course we needed to try it then with a single core test, and the single core test had really demonstrated that the IPC changes in the 5000 series really make a difference. That gave me high hopes for my upgrade, and obviously to test that we needed to do some benchmarks. So let's take a look. those benchmarks were obviously run inside my gaming rig, and for that system we currently use a B550 motherboard, 32GB of 3200MHz DDR4, and an NVIDIA RTX 3070 Ti. And as you can see, the results were amazing. But how does that actually compare to the different CPUs? Obviously for that we needed to run the same test again and could give a bit of a comparison to that. As we can see from the results, the 5600X just pulled away on every single game compared to the 3800X. It wasn't a huge difference all across, but we did see a 10 to 20 frames per second increase. Now, along with obviously the increase in performance that we got purely just for gaming, this processor is actually a 65 watts, so keeping it under control, keeping it cool was no problem at all. Particularly with that system, we use a 360mm fractal AIO. To be honest, we generally struggled even to get that to keep the 3800X under control. We had to do a lot of modifications on fan profiles just to get it nice and quiet, because I do love that system to be quiet. But obviously with the 5600X, that was not a problem. At 65 watts, it doesn't really get warm at all. So did I actually get a decent upgrade for my money? Considering this processor was less than £200, and this one I actually paid around 274 about a year ago, I think I actually did. The extra cooling was absolutely superb, and the extra 10 to 20 FPS was really good. Along with that, obviously I've got something a little bit more future-proof, because the 5600X will work with Windows 11 beautifully, and also it gives me access to everything like PCI Gen 4 and things like that. So in terms of an upgrade, it was fantastic. Should you do the same thing? Yes, if you only use your system really for gaming. If you're looking at some kind of productivity, particularly if you're doing video editing or 3D rendering, you probably will want to stick with the 3800X, purely because it does outperform it in most of the tests that we did. Now obviously I did say before we were going to be putting this 3800X into our editing system, and it's going to be doing all these beautiful videos for you going forward. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you can see some more going forward. If you have either one of these processors, let me know in the comments below what you're currently thinking. Do you have a 3800X and are you considering going to the 5600X or even higher? Let me know of your experiences.